वन स्टार्टिंग से पढ़ते हैं. The name of the chapter is Reproduction in Organisms. Reproduction in organisms. What is reproduction? Reproduction it is a vital process. Reproduction is a vital process in which same kind of young ones are obtained from parent. Reproduction is essential for organisms because it helps in continuity of life, evolution, variation, mutation, formation of new species. Now, types of reproduction. We discuss about types of reproduction. Reproduction is of two types, like asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction, and write about characters of asexual reproduction. That reproduction in which fusion of gametes doesn't take place. Fusion of sperm ovum, fusion of gametes, fusion of egg and male gamete. This type of fusion is absent. The definition of asexual reproduction is that reproduction in which formation and fusion of gametes do not take place is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction has different characters, like it is monoparental. Only one parent is involved in young one production, monoparental. It is fast process. Asexual reproduction is fast process. More number of young ones are obtained. Through this method, young ones are clones. During asexual reproduction, meiosis is absent. Meiosis type of division never takes place. Clones are formed, more number of young ones are formed. It is fast process and monoparental. Clones are young ones. Clones are young ones which are identical to their parent. Identical young ones are called clones. Different methods of asexual reproduction are fission, budding, Torullation, fragmentation, regeneration, sporulation, conidia formation, Parthenogenesis, vegetative reproduction. Fission, budding, torullation, fragmentation, regeneration, sporulation, and conidia formation take place in lower organisms. Vegetative reproduction takes place in lower organisms or in higher organisms, higher plants, maybe in angiospermic plants. Parthenogenesis, apospory, apogamy. These are asexual methods for higher organisms. In lower organisms, asexual reproduction takes place through fission, budding, torullation, fragmentation, regeneration, sporulation, conidia formation. Vegetative reproduction takes place in lower organisms or in higher organisms. In case of higher organisms, asexual methods are apospory, apogamy, apomixis, parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis takes place in higher organisms but also takes place in invertebrates like that honeybee, insecta, arthropods, honeybee, spider, arthropodan characters also. What is fission? It is asexual method performed in unicellular parent. Unicellular parent divides to form either two daughters or to form many daughters. More than two daughters. Unicellular parent, single-celled parent like amoeba, leishmania, euglena, paramecium, serratium, plasmodium, bacteria. These are unicellular organisms. And unicellular organism divides to form either two daughters or many daughters. Such division is called fission. Fission is asexual reproduction in which unicellular parent divides to form two daughters or more than two daughters. Hence, fission is of two types: binary fission and multiple fission. In case of binary fission, two daughters are obtained from parent. And in case of multiple fission, many daughters are obtained from parent. Fission is of two types: binary and multiple. That fission in which unicellular parent divides to form two daughters, two young ones, is called binary fission, and that fission in which unicellular parent divides to form many daughters is called multiple fission. Binary fission and multiple fission. Binary fission. Here we discuss about different steps of cell division. Actually, not all steps of cell division, only for the steps of different steps of fission. This is single-celled organism. Nucleus, cytoplasm, parent, cell, whole structure is a cell. First of all, nuclear division takes place. Nuclear division takes place. सबसे पहले number of nucleus becomes twice. Nuclear division takes place, and after that cytoplasmic attraction cytoplasmic mass attracted towards nucleus. Then cellular invaginations, the invagination takes place in cell membrane. Cell membrane invaginates. This invagination is continued and finally cell membrane from both directions touch to a common point and finally separated. Two daughters are obtained. Unicellular parent divides to form two daughters is binary fission. and different steps of fission are given below. First of all, nuclear division takes place, and after that, cytoplasmic division takes place due to invagination of cell membrane. Cell membrane invaginates so that protoplasmic mass also divided, and finally two daughters are obtained. In this case, no any material of the parent is lost. No any material. Parental material is completely transferred towards young ones. Due to this reason, binary fission performing organisms are called immortal. Immortal. Here, nuclear division and cytoplasmic division indicates that the longitudinal axis divides to form two daughters. It is hypothetical axis. Hypothetical axis, and we say that from this axis parental cell divides. According to different axis of cytoplasmic division, binary fission is of different types. 4 types. Binary fission is of 4 types. Longitudinal binary fission, transverse binary fission, oblique binary fission, and irregular binary fission. If parental cell divides to form two daughters due to longitudinal division. Parental cell divides through longitudinal axis and two daughters are obtained. Then it is longitudinal binary fission. We discuss about euglena. Euglena, unicellular organism, flagellar organism, long hair-like structure, is flagellum, a small flagellum and another large long flagellum. That means two flagella are present in euglena, and it divides through this axis. In this manner, this is the axis, longitudinal axis, invaginates in this direction, and finally This is longitudinal axis and touch. Two daughter euglena. Parent euglena produces two daughters through longitudinal axis. Due to this reason, this type of binary fission is called longitudinal binary fission. Now, we come to the point about transverse binary fission. Transverse binary fission. Paramecium, unicellular organism containing two nuclei, two contractile vacuole, cytoplasm, small hair-like structures called cilia. Cilia. Paramecium divides to form two daughters, and this division is through transverse axis. Paramecium divides through transverse axis. That means invagination in this direction. Cell membrane invaginates in this direction. In this direction. Hence we say that paramecium divides along transverse axis to produce two daughter paramecia. Two daughter paramecia. Oblique binary fission. Number C. Oblique binary fission. Serratium, unicellular organism, and it divides through oblique axis to produce two daughters. Due to this oblique axis, the name of binary fission is oblique binary fission. In case of longitudinal binary fission, unicellular organism parent divides through longitudinal axis. In case of transverse binary fission, unicellular parent divides through transverse axis. In case of oblique binary fission, unicellular parent divides through oblique axis. And in case of irregular binary fission, unicellular organism divides through any axis. Any axis. Like in amoeba, irregular binary fission takes place. Multiple fission. multiple fission, unicellular parent divides to form many daughters. But here we discuss about steps of such fission, multiple fission. First of all, nuclear division takes place. Then cytoplasmic attraction, nuclear division followed by cytoplasmic attraction. Finally, cell membrane invaginates in such a manner that nuclear covering takes place. Finally, this invagination produces many daughters, but loss of parental materials takes place here. Due to this reason, multiple fission performing organisms are not called immortal. Next method of asexual reproduction is budding. Budding. Budding is the asexual reproduction which performed through bud formation. That asexual reproduction which takes place through bud formation is budding. Is called budding. And what is bud? Bud is extra growth of parental body wall. Extra growth. From which structure? Parental body wall. Parental body wall. Extra growth, and this extra growth has similar content as similar structure with parent. Such bud is when separated from parental body, then developed into a daughter. Budding takes place in unicellular parent like in yeast, unicellular parent, or in multicellular parent like in hydra. Like in sponge. Budding takes place in unicellular parent or in multicellular organisms. Budding is of two types, like external budding and internal budding. Internal budding. If bud is formed as extra growth, as outgrowth from parental body wall, then it is external bud. When bud is formed as an outgrowth from parental body wall, outer to the parental body wall, then it is external bud. And when young ones are obtained through external buds, then this method is external budding. External budding takes place in yeast, also takes place in hydra. In case of hydra, an outgrowth, bud is an outgrowth from parental body wall. Hence, it is external bud. And when new or daughter hydra is developed from such external bud after the separation from parental body, then this method is external budding. In case of sponge, bud is formed as ingrowth of parental body wall. Ingrowth of parental body wall. As outgrowth, then external bud. As ingrowth, then internal bud. Internal bud. And after separation from parental body, internal bud is developed into new sponge, a daughter sponge. Hence, it is called internal budding. In case of a sponge, the internal bud is called zamule. Zamule. Zamule is internal bud of a sponge. A zamule has capacity to develop into a daughter sponge. It is about we say about the outline of gamule. Its outline is spherical. A zamule has a small opening called micropyle and double layered covers. Outer cover is outer membrane and inner cover is inner membrane. In between both membranous cover, supportive structures are present and supported by endoskeleton called spicules. Internally, A zamule has mass of cells called archaeocytes or totipotent cells. All these cells have capacity to collectively develop into a daughter sponge. The third method of asexual reproduction is fragmentation. Fragmentation. When parental body breaks into smaller parts, two or more parts, then each part is called fragment. Each part is called fragment, and each fragment has capacity to develop into a daughter. Daughters or young ones are obtained from parent through fragment formation, then it is called fragmentation. Parental body breaks into smaller parts. For example, when parental body is filamentous, many cells are arranged one above to other and form filament-like structure. Filamentous parent, and this parent breaks into either two fragments or many fragments, and each fragment has capacity to develop into a daughter filament. This method is fragmentation. Fragmentation. Oidogonium, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, these are different algae which have filamentous body, and through fragmentation these algae produce young ones. Fourth method is regeneration. Regeneration. When loss of parental body part takes place and remaining parental body develops its lost part, then this method is regeneration. Regeneration activity we can see in lizard. In case of lizard, if loss of tail takes place, then again repairing, new tail formation takes place. This repairing of tail or the character of the tail development is regeneration. But here in a lizard, regeneration is not a method of asexual reproduction. Here, regeneration is not a method of asexual reproduction in case of lizard. But when due to regeneration young ones are obtained, then here in this case regeneration is the method of asexual reproduction. And this regeneration activity we can see in starfish, planaria, and other different animals like that, earthworm also. Regeneration activity is explained by given the example of planaria. Planaria is a worm. It has muscular body, and if at some place its body part is lost, some place lost due to death of cells of this region, automatically planaria is converted into, here in this basis, 3 parts. Three parts. And each part has some storage cells, and these cells has capacity to divide and form rest body part. And by the formation of lost body part, young ones are obtained. Hence, here regeneration is a method of asexual reproduction. Torullation. It is actually budding in yeast, but when number of bud is more than one, number of bud is 2 or more, then such bud is called torula. After separation of such torula from parental body, daughter is obtained. Each torula is developed into a daughter. Torullation takes place in yeast and it is budding method, external budding method in yeast, but in case of budding, single bud is formed, but in case of torullation, many buds are formed. 2 or more buds are formed. And here, such buds are toruli. Each bud is a torula, and each torula is developed into a daughter after separation from parental body. Next method, sporulation, conidia formation. ये सभी बचे हुए हैं जिसको हम लोग फिर कल मॉर्निंग में 6 से 7 डिस्कस करेंगे। हिंदी मीडियम वाला जो बैच चल रहा है, जिसमें इंग्लिश टर्म हिंदी टर्म दोनों यूज़ होता है, 3 से 4, उसे भी आप सुन सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं, तो इसमें और भी फ़ायदा मिलेगा। आप सबको शुभकामना है। मेहनत कीजिए, अच्छा कीजिए। थैंक यू।